right? We're recording?
Ha, ha, ha. I want to lead the discussion. Ha, ha. Okay, take it away, Molly.
Well, we haven't started yet. So, I mean, this is what happens before a TV show. You know, when you kind of, okay, this is the first time we've ever gone live.
In the Express Studio. Together.
And we've already got them really upset. Wouldn't you say?
Fairly. Well, no, not really. I guess I just am impervious to people being upset. I'm so willful about what I want to accomplish.
Well, should we have given way?
To what?
Well, to the other people, like not gone live since there was already
I think they were waiting for us to see if we said, oh, we don't really want to go live. But we do. We want to go live. We want to hear from you, the viewer. What are you thinking? What's Manhattan thinking about the Constitution? What are you thinking about the Constitution? This is not a throwaway document.
You gotta show your face. You know, didn't you go to spokesmodeling school?
No. What kind?
Spokesmodeling school. You demonstrate the product and you show a face too. Usually you have like a really hot chick, so that you know it's like sex sells. You know the whole DMT thing.
Oh.
You know, I mean Carol Merrill, and you know.
There we have it.
But anyway, okay. So what time is it? Okay, we got 4 more minutes.
Except there's a delay, so I should probably turn that down.
Well, it's down, right?
The volume. Let me turn.
All right, we'll go over there and turn it down. You can't see what's else is going on in the studio, and yeah, turn down the volume.
Because it's annoying when you hear that.
Do you think we'll ever go live again, Paula? That's as far as it goes.
Okay.
You think meetings with remarkable people really want to see live?
We'll see if we get any calls.
Well,
Harold doesn't know you. I hope he calls. He's shy. He might be shy.
You don't think Joe's gonna call?
Well, if you talk about him.
Of course I'll talk about him. Hang on. Why am I feeling like I'm not? There we go.
I think Jay was surprised that you're descended from 2 signers of the Declaration and one of the Constitutions.
Did totally intimidate him?
A little bit, but it was good too because they're studying it so much. All the laws and the precedents.
All right. Well, okay. So
don't worry
I'll
about
take my
it.
glasses.
So
No, see, I can't see what time it is.
And keep them on.
All right. So, do you think they're going to start us bang on at 9?
Look at that. Well, we'll have to find. I guess we're not getting a test call.
No, they already gave us a test call.
And it was good.
Yeah,
you know how to set the tone.
We can call
so
ourselves.
our mics are good, and
we can
and
call
the
ourselves if worse comes to worse.
Oh, right. Oh, I think I hear a caller. I'm studying law at the Middle Temple.
Oh, next day we are meetings with remarkable people. Oh my God, it looks so professional.
I know, and it's culture, isn't that nice?
Well, I guess I am cultured. I can't believe they actually gave me a show at 9 o'clock.
There we are. Fishing reel. Well, so much for culture.
So much for culture.
No, he's a nice person. Fishing is a good thing. No, but.
Sorry, we're looking at commercials. The nice thing is that nobody knows what we're looking at.
Right.
But I mean, we couldn't put us in front of New York City.
There's a delay.
See? Presto, we're in New York.
Oh, no, I wanted the other one.
I know.
We get it back? Oh, okay, you can do that. Okay. Coming to you from New York City.
I think we start with this, Paula.
Okay.
Okay, we are about to start. Do I look more intelligent with glasses on?
Yeah. In India, they like to wear glasses. They don't want bitter eyesight without glasses.
What?
They want respect.
They want respect?
Yeah, and they think that's what you get.
All right, so here we go. We're about to go live.
It's a farther down the rabbit hole logo-ish.
It looks like Target. All right, here we go. Oh, here we are. So, hi, my name is Molly Cheshire. This is Meetings with Remarkable People. My remarkable person tonight is the one and the only Paula Gloria. And tonight we're sort of changing from the format and we're allowing live call-ins. So any of you out there in the world of Manhattan, as you can see from the photo behind us.
Now you know that we're coming to you from Manhattan.
We really are in Manhattan. But that really is the phone number that you can call. And but hang on, we'll change,
It's 212-757-2076. And Molly and I came to you live today on my show at 12 noon today. And it was really fun and interesting.
So what did you want to talk about? There are two books that we have here that we were going to sort of mention, and we mentioned it earlier. And this book is called The Middle Temple Lawyers and the American Revolution. And Paula, tell me why you like this book, and then.
Okay, the reason I like this book so much is because a lot of times people who are now questioning the Constitution and whether people are really following the Constitution, whether our society now is the robust expression of free people and of people who are able to pursue their own happiness, they don't really know the history of how the Constitution came about. And this is called Middle Temple Lawyers, particularly in the South. I think I was following most of the Southerners.
No, it's not just the South. It's all 13 colonies and all the different representatives from each colony who actually attended this. Okay, the Middle Temple Lawyers were, it was sort of like the law school of the 18th century in London. If any of you have seen the Da Vinci Code, they actually shoot part of it in one of the churches of the Middle Temple, and it sort of dates back to the Knights Templar. And so anyway, so these guys have quite a tradition, and a lot of the representatives that ended up breaking away from England originally were students at the Middle Temple, and also their fathers. Not just the Middle Temple, but there was the Inner Temple. Keep talking, Paul, and I'll.
Basically, with great sacrifice, people made a huge journey back to England. These young men, a lot of them would have been men that would have owned land. So, even if they never practiced law, their families wanted them to understand what law was. Oh, somebody's calling on your cell phone.
I think it's Joe.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, it's someone for me. Never mind.
Okay,
I don't
so
have
we'll
to answer
ignore
it.
that.
Ignore.
Sit on this phone.
Ignore that phone.
Okay. So.
Anyway, keep talking, Paul.
So the point is that at the Middle Temple, you had a certain percentage of people that would just sort of party and squander the opportunity away, and maybe they would make connections and they would know people and they'd sort of cruise on their connections and their wealth and their family background. And America was just opening up, and the land was rich and plenty.
This is what the Middle Temple looked like. Keep talking, Paul. I'm just giving
But a few
visuals.
of them were really, really great men. They were really deep thinkers, and they really wanted a better society. And so they were really applying themselves. Now, in education at the Middle Temple, what it consisted of was not so much a whole lot of classroom work, but a lot of work sitting in on the courts. So as the courts were taking place, as the trials were going on, these young men would have an opportunity to see how the judges were ruling. Later on, they would hobnob and they would eat with the judges, and there would be a certain amount of socializing.
So, but it was a very loose education. Here it is: the Middle Temple, the Inner Temple, Gray's Inn, or Lincoln's Inn. So it was sort of a conglomeration of people that eat, live, slept, breathe law.
Right.
And it was a very hands-on, but hands-off in a way, because it's not like anyone was really participating. They were just watching law in process.
Right.
And so, it was sort of take it or leave it. If you wanted to hang out and drink a lot, you could do that. But, at the end of it, if you actually paid attention and just went to the courts on a daily basis,
you would see what was happening, and you get a feeling of, and so they had a feeling of what was going on in England. If somebody's calling, can you call 757-2076 and not on the cell phone, because I'm sitting on the cell phone.
Give me the cell phone, Paul. It might be Joe.
But we can't put them if somebody's on. Okay. So the
comment.
number is 212-757-2076. So back to the Middle Temple education. So some of these people could just squander their time away and their opportunities. Some of them were great letter writers to sort of get their parents to keep sending money and sort of pretending that they were studying. some of them were so idealistic that I think their parents were a little bit concerned whether they were practical. But eventually, so when they talk about cannabis and hemp being part of the culture, and you're talking about Thomas Jefferson and George Washington smoking and thinking and expanding their awareness, I think it's important to have an understanding of the kind of training that these men had so that when they were smoking and expanding their awareness, they had discipline.
I think that's probably kind of a radical topic that, you know, most of my viewers probably don't realize that maybe our founding fathers recreationally used cannabis. So,
they don't realize it.
You know,
okay, you tell your viewers. You
no,
know,
no, but my audience doesn't really follow your show. I don't know.
Right. So elaborate.
I mean? Like, so, I think that Paula is trying to legalize cannabis as a cure for cancer, which is also kind of a radical thought for maybe some of you out there that don't follow Paula's show. But I think what's interesting is that, like for example, when I could relate it to my mother and talk to her about why there was ever a prohibition on alcohol and how difficult that was to enforce, when I was sort of trying to convince her that maybe, you know, a cannabis or pot or whatever you want to call it, that it was a prohibition that was never going to work, and that people are you're just going to fill up the prisons, and also if it really were a cure for cancer, which there's a lot of evidence that it is, and that it's just crazy that we've been killing people with chemotherapy and radiation for so many years when, you know, the cure seems to be so simple, but because there's such a stigma attached because of the 60s and all the hippies, but when I said to my mother, well, you know, prohibition never works, she's like, you're absolutely right, it never works. So then you go back to guys like, you know, my forefather, who, let me see if I can find.
Oh yes, Molly's descended from two signers of the Declaration of Independence and one of the Constitution, and I've read some of the history of, and you know, when they were really slogging through it, it was a tough situation to decide to break from England, to break with tradition. In many cases, you're breaking with a lot of the friends that you met, that you were hanging out with in your Middle Temple education. But you were driven on by a dream that you had inside, that in this new land, this land of opportunity, potential for great wealth, that was huge crops and things, rice being grown in South Carolina, that it would be a chance, fortified with the prosperity and the freshness, the newness of a new land, you could start to execute some of the dreams of a better society. And that's the excitement of the Constitution.
Well, and not to blow my own horn, but I mean, this guy actually, Arthur Middleton, is the guy that's most blood related to. And then these two guys, I'm related to their brother, whose name, well, this is John Rutledge. John Rutledge is this guy, and Edward Rutledge is here. And I'm related to Hugh, as we call him in the family, Hugh Who, because what the hell did he do? But I think he also went to the Middle Temple. In fact, I know he did. And, you know, he did a few things, but he never became Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and never signed the Declaration of Independence, or never signed the Constitution, and, you know, a few other things that these other guys did. But as, you know, my parents said that this guy was home sort of keeping the home fires burning so these guys could be off, you know, traipsing around the country, starting a new country. You know, it's hard to make money and be a radical at the same time.
Did they bring cannabis over from the old country? I know they got tobacco from the American Indians. I would imagine they would.
I can't imagine that it was an indigenous crop.
Yeah.
But you tell me. I mean, you're the one that's been on the cannabis trail, so to speak.
I should learn that detail. I would imagine they brought hemp over, and along with it, you'd bring in the traditions, like it's in the Bible
and actually, we're cooking along here. So this
cooking along.
Second part of this thing.
Call in if you have any comments. I mean, you might want to tell them about the cancer cure, how cancer is cured.
Well, you tell me. You tell us.
Okay, for the
you're
sake
my
of
remarkable person tonight.
Okay.
I'm just
okay.
basking in your glory.
No, it's great working with Molly because she definitely has the pedigree. And the pedigree is important because when you talk to her father and people in her family who have brushed up on the history, they're more aware of the type of sacrifices that were
not
made.
the history of cannabis,
So
but
I don't
the history in
think,
general.
if they had cannabis, they were probably smoking it. And that's pretty much what most
but that's
people
not
knew
what Mom
about in
and
the
Dad would say.
60s.
I just don't want to give up
Oh,
the
we've
wrong
got a
impression.
call.
Oh my God, we got a call.
Let's see what
I guess-
happens.
Hello?
Hello, caller?
Yes, hello.
Oh wait, now I can't hear you.
Put the caller up, maybe.
Okay, wait, just a second. I just have to put you louder.
Hi.
Hello?
Hey, good evening.
Can you hear us?
Can you
Yes,
hear us?
I can hear you on the phone.
Okay, good. Yeah, hear us on the phone and not on the television.
Yeah, I hear you on the TV.
Yeah, I know.
'Cause there's
it's
a delay.
Okay, well, anyway, so what do you think?
Hello?
Yes?
What do you think?
What do you think?
Well, cannabis is a good cure for cancer and a lot of other ailments.
So you think cannabis is a cure for cancer?
No, it's not a cure, but it can help a person with their eating and their mood swings and stuff like that. It's very good.
I'm glad he called.
Is this something you know from personal experience?
Well, I know a lot of people, not a lot, I know a few people that have, like, say, for instance, my grandfather. He had glaucoma, and they was giving him marijuana pills. And this was like in the 70s.
Uh-huh.
And it helped him drive around. It was able to, he felt a lot better. But I just wanted to, I like the show, and I'm watching it.
Good.
Serious. And, it's a weed. It's an herb. It's from the earth.
Well, I mean, to me it seems so absurd that everybody gets so upset about it and kind of jumps up and down and refuses to look at any evidence and refuses to do any more serious scientific study on it. And it's like,
I understand what you're saying.
no one's ever OD'd on cannabis.
No. Your appetite, it builds up your appetite.
I mean, the interesting thing is that there's a great documentary called Run from the Cure.
Have you seen it, sir,
No, I
caller?
If you Google it and on YouTube, take a look at it because it's amazing. They found all kinds of new evidence that it's a serious cure for brain tumors. I mean, I had a cousin who died of a brain tumor, and he would have had no trouble with taking a pound of pot and reducing it. And
You have to reduce it into a high concentration. You need to take a solvent, put the fiber in, smash it up, take the fiber off, and then boil off or allow the solvent to evaporate off over some days. And then what you're left with is a very high concentration of THC.
Right.
And that cures the cancer. This isn't just sort of feeling better about the pain or dealing better with imminent death. This is actually taking out the cancer. But in order to do that, you need high concentrations, and the problem is...
You can cook with it, too.
What's that, sir?
You can cook with it and make brownies and...
Yeah, but to get that,
No,
but to get the
but-
cancer cure, you're also going to get a big prison sentence because they're going to say only dealers need that amount of
right,
cannabis.
because when you're dealing with dispensaries, I don't know if you know, in California, they've semi-legalized it, at least for medicinal purposes.
I've seen a study where a man has grown it in California and would make butter and certain other
Right.
things with it, and it was a positive thing. I just want to say I like this show, and I'm going to keep watching it, and God
Okay.
bless you two women.
Oh, sir, stay tuned at 12 noon every day. I'm starting to go live almost every day, and I'm taking more calls about this because we're concerned about emptying the prisons and emptying the cancer wards.
Well-
And most cannabis groups don't go there.
Prison is a big industry, and I don't believe it's going to be emptied, but they need to have an alternative.
I totally agree.
The lady on the left, what's your name?
Oh, me?
On the left with the blue.
We're dyslexic, and
We're
we don't know.
looking at the... Wait, left. That's you, Paula.
Okay, me?
Paula Gloria,
Yeah, my
I just want
show.
to know your name.
and my name's Molly Cheshire. And I'm sorry that we don't have proper graphics. It was a little complicated. This is kind of a...
We're coming
The
to you
one on
from.
the right?
I guess, yeah, I'm the one on the right, Molly.
You're
Wave.
beautiful women. I love you, and keep the show positive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. You have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow, we got a real caller.
I know, it's always so
I mean-
exciting to know
I mean,
somebody's
it's-
listening.
It's like, no, but I'm always expecting Rusty to call. trolling the airwaves and Howard Stern and all that kind of craziness. But let's go back to the next part of the show.
Yes.
Which hang on, let's got to get it close. Hyman Spotnitz, and what's interesting about this being relevant to what we're talking about is that there's a certain resistance in our society to any kind of paradigm shift. And for example, for us to, why do I feel like, oh, I see the studio. For us to change the laws on marijuana or any kind of drug prohibition, you run up against this resistance, and if it's in the legal system, the political system, the medical system, there's something going on that it's not happening. Wait.
Our society seems
Malik, is it okay?
somewhat psychotic.
Is everything cool?
It's okay, yeah.
Oh,
okay, we're cool.
What's wrong? Are we doing something wrong?
Oh,
okay. You can have the remote.
Oh, Malik, can you turn the music down in the next studio? Thanks.
Anyway, we're getting a little bleed over. So the bottom line is that one of the things that when I get sort of incredulous is at why these things aren't changing when they seem so beneficial, and such a no-brainer, because when you really look at the evidence, it's so obvious that it's correct, and is that there's a certain resistance in our society, and this man Hyman Spotnitz.
Yeah, what resistance means in psychological, psychoanalytical terms is that no matter how much you present compelling evidence to somebody, they behave in an irrational, psychotic way. So the fact that we have a beautiful Constitution and it was set up to make prosperity equal to, available to all, that you would have justice, and with a just society, you would have progress, and with progress, you'd have more prosperity, and yet our biggest growth industries are healthcare, in other words, the industry of sickness, and an industry of criminality, which is prisons.
Well, law and order.
Yeah.
The whole, police, judicial, and prison. So it's all about.
And yet, it's not depending on law and order. It's not because if it was really order and law, you would go by the Constitution. You would see that many of these laws were sort of grafted on, really, for the sake of monopoly and ownership of a few. What we really need to do is be free to simply grow a plant. If you're living in a society where there's
helicopter... In a binary way, of course.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain binary economics?
Binary economics means that most of our wealth comes from capital ownership. It doesn't come from labor. Therefore, it's like Robert Ashford, who teaches it, Professor Ashford, says, no farmer ever made an apple. He can grow apple trees, but it's the apple tree that produces the apple. But it's the ownership of the apple tree that's important. So it's the ownership of this plant. Who's owning the plant? If you're living in a society where there's helicopters flying around, spying on what plants you're growing, and we're talking about, in this case, a plant that's been grown for 5,000 years. We had a really interesting discussion earlier in the day, and Alan Steinfeld called in from England. And he called in after we went off air, and he was asking if Judaic law was talking, if Joe had mentioned Judaic law. And
Joe Friendly,
and he's the producer of Truth for a Change.
Which is on at what time?
It's on before Harold Channer.
Anyway.
It's after Amy Goodman's Democracy Now! On the Community Affairs channel. I come on at 12 noon. But Joe hadn't thought too much about Judaic law, and I said, well, surely if you're seeing it in the Bible, like I think Joe Barton talked about the whole sacred anointing oil.
Right, but forget about that. Mosaic law is Moses brings down the law from Mount, Sinai,
right.
And those are the 10 Commandments. And like it or not, they're out. Most of them are pretty good rules to live by.
Right.
And most of our legal system is sort of based on that, whether we like it or not. Depending on whether you like to covet your neighbor's wife or.
Don't covet your neighbor's plants, I guess.
Well, anyway, the interesting thing is that Joe Friendly. Anyway, continue. I sort of broke your track.
Well, he backed off on it. Joe Friendly wasn't really thinking that he knew too much about Judaic law.
Or that he was for it. He said he was against it.
Yeah, he was against it. There's a lot of self-hating Jews around, and we were discussing it, Molly and I. If you just focus on a plant and the freedom to grow a plant, and then you see all of the insanity assembled to distract you, Like the
Well,
whole term of decriminalizing. Talk about decriminalizing.
But we'll talk about that. But it would be one thing if it were a poisonous plant that would kill people, but no one has ever OD'd from pot.
Even
you know?
people have even died from aspirin. Nobody's died from marijuana. So how could you have a victimless crime?
So the thing is too is that if you decriminalize it at a, let's say, for the user, right? So because at one point they were going to decriminalize it so you could have an ounce or 2 ounces. It still means that anyone who provides people with that product is engaged in the
in jeopardy.
And in jeopardy and engaged in the criminal element and is in, puts themselves in that whole prison law and disorder kind of environment.
Oh, we have a call.
Oh my God, we have a call. How exciting.
We lost our CG.
I guess we lost the call. I thought we picked up.
We had it. Call back.
Call back.
We do want to hear from you.
I'm sort of unused to this format in that, I don't know, bright flashing lights usually means that I'm being photographed as I'm going through a stoplight or something like that. But,
oh, right.
But anyway, so we've got 8 minutes, and then we've got to hightail it out of here
because another show is coming online.
But anyway, but back to resistance. What would you say Spotnitz would say the resistance is in our culture to changing the laws on this particular item?
In psychoanalysis, what you're trying to do is you're trying to find where the blockage is, and people in a psychoanalytic session just speak and speak and speak. And a therapist is analyzing what's happening, but he's not becoming involved in anything other than assisting now and then to overcome the resistance that the patient has to speak whatever is close to the issue. So what I think we would like to do is people who are presenting ideas on television is to get people to think about how they fit into a society and where it gets blocked. Like, I personally find blocks when I become fearful. I think I'm doing something wrong, or I'm ashamed, and then I think it through and I think, well, this law never should have been in place that would make me ashamed or whatever. I don't happen to smoke marijuana, but I really am totally offended by the idea that if I did do it, I would be considered a criminal. That I find very disturbing. So the resistance in me would be...
Oh my God, we got a call.
See if it works. Hello?
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 Oh, yeah.
Yes, you're on the air.
Hello, I'm enjoying your show. I think you're very attractive women, and I enjoy your talking. You're making a lot of sense. And I'm glad that this is being tried out for the first time. I listened to Paula many days on the noontime show. And Molly, you have a wonderful smile. But I have to say that I don't think the cannabis, marijuana, I believe it should be used, and I think people should have a choice. But our society is set up in such a way that it's practically impossible for that to happen. And I think it goes back to our Constitution and the founding landlords, whom I believe set up a system which would benefit them only. When they said we the people, they were talking about themselves, not all the people. All the people are the rest of us, and that's therefore, even to this day, our government and such is run by the people who belong to the we the people umbrella. The aristocrats at the time, the landlords, I believe there are about 3 million of them now, of a population of 303 million. There are about 3 million of these people now, and they control everything that goes on. The government, what gets done and what doesn't get done. So unfortunately, we are in a delusion that somehow we who are all the people have something to do or benefit from this Constitution and this Bill of, and the Declaration of Independence, which was set up by about I think 70 or 80 landlords and well-to-do aristocrats who did not want the people, the ordinary people of this country, to get what they wanted, what they had. Matter of fact, they were afraid that they might lose something, and they set up the country before the British would. And they had a contest between the British landlords and American landlords. And I'm reading some of the history. I remember reading about the George Washington trying to get recruits for the Continental Army, and he had a tough time doing it. And one of the reasons, especially up in the Catskill Mountains, they couldn't get people to join. And the people in the Catskill Mountains would say, we don't want to expect that the American landlords are going to treat us any better than the British landlords. We're living under the American landlords up here. And most people in those days were living under the oppression of the American landlords. Class, American landlord class. Definitely a class system. And we're still a class system. And it operates the same way as it did 230 years ago. And they're set up that way, and the people who are benefiting the most from it are the direct descendants of the We the People cartel.
But why don't you just make We the People your own personal mantra, and you associate yourself with We the People? You say that's about you. I mean,
well,
don't.
Yeah, go ahead. And just so you know that I'm a direct descendant, and I can't say that there's been that much of a trickle down. You know, I mean, you can still have the bloodlines and not have the benefits.
But it seems to me our government is against us. Nobody can get into this government unless they have the money.
But look at, sir, you've been following the Joe Barton trial, the Jay Deberman trial. These are two men, a man and his son, who were growing marijuana. They were curing somebody who had cancer, right? So they started in their defense, first of all, changing the whole concept, not even calling themselves defendants. They call themselves sovereign human beings. Once they've done that, you make this shift and you absorb We the People. You make yourself part of We the People. So We the People are sovereigns, and they're the ones that have people in government serve them because they're serving the Constitution. They've sworn an oath to the Constitution. So it's like holding their feet to the fire to live up to their highest soul potential in order to do this. If we roll over and say, oh, We the People really wasn't We the People, or there's 3 million people that are doing that, we've already given that away. Well, why not go with what's written? Why not associate yourself with...
If we had a constitution that was for all of us, we wouldn't be in Afghanistan now.
Listen, I understand what...
Nobody in this country wants to be in Afghanistan except the people who belong to the We the People cartel. They want to be there.
No, I really think, you know, I don't know where you're getting this We the People thing is not We the People. We are the people. Have it in your... It's a headset.
We are all the people. We are all the people.
Yes, but what I'm saying is the Joe Barton trial is so interesting because he strictly adhered to that.
Yes.
The first, you know, Joe Friendly, did you watch the show today?
Well, no, I didn't hear it today, but he's an interesting guy, and he's very sincere, and I believe what he's doing is good.
Joe Friendly.
I wish that we had a government that would listen to him.
Who are you talking about, Joe Friendly or Joe Barton?
The fellow who's promoting the making cannabis illegal.
Yeah, Joe Barton.
Okay,
he wants to do good. He wants to do good things, but the power is against him.
Okay, now Joe Friendly said, oh, jurisdiction, nobody takes jurisdiction seriously. And I said, Joe, this is Joe Friendly, nobody's taking the Constitution seriously.
We just went off air, unfortunately, and they're chasing us out of here early, unfortunately. Thank you so much for calling in, and call tomorrow at noon.
Yeah, call tomorrow at noon. We're going to be on again.
We'll be on again. Okay, thank you.
We got to go.
Bye.
Bye. We just cut out of here?
Yeah, I mean, hey, we got some real phone calls.
Yeah, no, that was a good discussion, too. Joe.
Where's Malik?